this time, I make a motion that we reconvene the Municipal Officers Electoral Board meeting. That was recessed last Friday, January 11th. I'll do that in the form of a motion.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is reconvened. And roll call.
Bryant.
Here.
Lance here. Orland is absent.
Under my remarks, case number 2013-01, Lewis versus Winslow. The Municipal Officers Electoral Board list of exhibits in the agenda. As part of the chairman's remarks, myself, I will present the following exhibits. Item 1, nomination papers consisting of 12 pages filed by candidate Winslow on December 17, 2012 at 8 a.m. Statement of economic interest filed at 3 p.m., including the following: A, statement of candidacy; B, receipt of statement of economic interest; C, loyalty oath; and D, petition sheets consisting of 9 pages of signatures. Receipt of nomination papers issued to candidate Winslow by Village Clerk Sue Lawrence on December 17, 2012 at 8 a.m. The receipt for those economic interests issued at 3 p.m. That was number 2. Number 3, objection to statement of candidacy and independent candidate petition filed by Objector Clyde Lewis on Wednesday, January the 2nd, 2013 at 2:14 p.m. Number 4, the transmittal letter from Village Clerk Sue Lawrence to Steve Bryant as chairman of the MOEB of the Village of Bethalto, forwarding original nomination papers of candidate Winslow and original objection of Howard Lewis, showing mailing at 10:53 a.m. on Friday, January the 4th, 2013. Number 5, return receipt from Steve Bryant dated Monday, January 7th, 2013 at 8:40 a.m., showing delivery of transmittal letter of original nomination papers and original objection. Item 6, call of initial meeting of the MOEB of the Village of Bethalto, executed by Steve Bryant as chairman, dated Monday, January 7th, 2013. Item 7, transmission letter of call of initial meeting sent to all members of the MOEB of the Village of Bethalto. Objector Lewis and candidate Winslow, showing mailings at 4:13 p.m. on Monday, January the 7th, 2013. Item 8, return receipts from all members of the MOEB, but for Gerald Borland, and including receipt from Objector Lewis and candidate Winslow. Item 9, copy of letter from Village Attorney Kenneth E. Balsters to the Sheriff of Madison County, Mr. Robert J. Hertz, requesting service of call of initial meeting upon each member of the MOEB and upon the Objector Lewis and candidate Winslow, dated Monday, January 7, 2013. Item 10, returns of service from Sheriff Hertz evidencing service on Steve Bryant, Sue Lawrence, Howard Lewis, and Clyde. That's Clyde Winslow, Alan Winslow. Candidate Winslow and Objector. Howard Lewis, please come forward to be sworn in for the hearing.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Be seated.
Case number 2013-01, Lewis versus Winslow. Objector's presentation. Mr. Lewis.
As stated, I provided the village with a list of objections to Alan Winslow's documents. And the specific objections are as follows. 1, the complete mailing address in the space provided in the top of the statement of candidacy is incomplete. The same statement at bottom half of the statement of candidacy is misleading. Although the residence is within the village of Bethalto limits, the address shown is a combination of the two incomplete addresses, mailing addresses. On the independent candidates petition, sheets 1 through 9, and the space provided at the top of the petition, the complete, correct mailing address is not provided. On sheet 8, and this was just a minor thing to more or less show that I had looked at the petitions and not just glazed through them, that there were 2 addresses that were not within the village limits. And really did not affect the petitions as far as the count.
Okay. Other comments?
I'd like to submit at this time a copy of the rule and election law of 2012 edition. And that's my objection.
Did you give Mr. Winslow a copy? Did you give Mr. Winslow a copy?
Yes, I did.
And we'll enter that as item number 11 as received. Because there are 4 separate objections to this petition, I think it would be in everyone's interest if we take one of those at a time. So the complete mailing address, item number 1 of your objection is complete mailing address, and the space provided at the top of the stand date of candidacy is incomplete. Elaborate on that.
It has the street address and the zip code, but it does not show the complete mailing address as being from the post office that serves the area.
And that's your argument on that one.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Winslow, your response?
Thank you. On my statement of candidacy, I completed the top section exactly as was requested. Under the address box, it states address and zip code. Nowhere does it say street address, city, county, state, and zip code. It says address and zip code. Most of the rules regarding the nomination papers that were given when we file provide very specific information on how these statements are to be prepared and submitted, right down to the point of how to number individual pages and where to put your staples in the booklets. So it would seem to me that if they wanted a full specific address, that they would ask for it. And I think that's evidenced by the fact that if you turn to the signature pages for the voters, the information specifically required is name, street address, city, and county. They wanted the information, they asked for it there. So I think it's quite evident that at the very top, when they asked specifically for address and zip code, that's what I gave them. My zip code is 62018, that's Cottage Hills, Illinois. 62010, of course, is Bethalto. I have a address at 198 Blair Avenue, and my mail is serviced by the Cottage Hills Post Office. There's no deceit there. There's no misinformation of any sort. That's the fact of the way it is. And regarding the entry of that information, I took the direction here very quite literally, address and zip.
Anything else?
Nothing.
Objector, rebuttal?
But I don't know if anybody, whenever you're asked for an address, who does not include the post office that it goes to. On everybody has to, you have to look at anybody else's candidacy sheets that have been filed with the village of Bethalto, and I'm sure that they're all completed. It states address, but whenever you see address, that's what it means, is the complete residential address.
At the top of the, I'm assuming that was your rebuttal. On the top of the statement of candidacy where it shows the candidate's name, address, and code, shows the office. On the fourth box of what office they are running for, that says Village of Bethalto.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
You can see that the candidate Winslow is a resident of the Village of Bethalto.
Yes. It's not the issue. I stated that that's not the issue.
I have,
I'm sorry.
just, if you have a comment, Mr. Lewis, pertaining to the questions that I asked.
I'm sorry.
Sue, did you have any questions on first? Number two, the same statement at the bottom half of the statement of candidacy is misleading. Although the residence is within the Village of Bethalto, the address shown is a combination of two incomplete mailing zip codes, which is somewhat misleading. Could you elaborate again, Mr. Lewis, on that?
Well, at the bottom, it's truly in the limits of the Village of Bethalto, but we're asked for reside at 198 Blair Avenue, Cottage, Illinois. That's the mailing address. That's the complete mailing address, which should be included on that line. And it is in the Village of Bethalto, and it is truly zip code 62018. It's a combination or an incomplete of the two addresses. Or address.
Just interrupt for just 1 second. Mr. Lewis, you're saying it says the post office address, the office. Ours says he resides at what location, not. Explain this. You said it clearly states the mailing address.
Resides at 198 Blair Avenue, but that's not the complete mailing
For the
address.
record, you made a statement that said that it clearly states mailing address. Does that,
No, I did not say that.
excuse me, ma'am, could you read back the statement prior?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble finding exactly where it went, where it starts.
Okay, clarify for us, Howard, what exactly you mean. Are you talking about a mailing address or his address of residency?
That I reside at, it's a place of residence,
So you're,
196, or 198 Blair Avenue, Cottage, Illinois.
so it's where he resides, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And your argument is that
There's no complete residence address.
right? Candidate Winslow?
Here again, I think this form speaks for itself. I live at 198 Blair Avenue, and as you can see, you have to circle whether you're in an incorporated area or in a village. I live within the village of Bethalto. My zip code is 62018. So, just so there's no misunderstandings. My mailing address is 198 Blair Avenue, Cottage Hill, 62018. I live within the village. This is not an anomaly to me. There are over 10 streets within the village of Bethalto that have a 62018 zip code. Okay, that's, I believe, due to a number of annexations over several decades. There's no attempt to mislead. There's no dishonesty or anything like that here. This is filled out exactly correctly. 198 Blair Avenue, and as you can see, in the village is what I have circled up with all of them, and my zip code, 62018. I stand by what's here. It's 100% accurate.
Rebuttal?
As I stated in objection number 2, that although although the residency is within the village of Bethalto, and I don't dispute that. Fact that it doesn't matter is the complete residence address is not provided. 198 Blair Avenue, Cottage, Illinois, within the village of Bethalto, and his existing zip code.
So you have nothing new to add, is that correct?
No, that's the statement.
I have no questions on that, Susan. Item 3 on the independent candidate petition, sheets 1 through 9, and space provided at the top of the petition, the candidate, the complete correct mailing address is not provided. Howard?
Again, it's just dealing with the residence complete address, complete residential address.
So you need to elaborate more on what specifically,
I need to elaborate more on what.
specifically on what, we're hearing each one of these as individual complaints.
At the top of the independent candidates petitions, in the box identified as the address and zip code. To me and to anyone else, the address would also include not only the number and street address, but the post office that it goes through and the zip code in order for the mail to be routed correctly. And anyone that I know, when you ask for an address, they always give a complete address, including the post office. So that's my statement.
Alan Winslow?
I think the crux of the matter here on this one and on point number one is that Mr. Lewis is making the assumption that a mailing address is being requested here. And it's absolutely not the case. You can see with your own eyes, the request is address, zip code. I'll repeat that does not request city, county, state, any of the other information that they require elsewhere on the form and is complete. In this particular box, it says address and zip code. That is what I have provided.
Vote?
And there's a document that I handed out to you and others here in the room as an exhibit. The election laws 2012 edition. Halfway down the bottom of the page, it states, each candidate must personally swear to certain facts in his or her individual statement, including the following.
Hold on.
A, the candidate's name.
Okay.
B, the candidate's complete residence address. And then it goes on to give some other things that has to be provided. Please, my statement.
Alan Winslow?
Not having the entire document here, it's kind of hard to see exactly what it is we're dealing with or what context this is presented in. But on my statement of candidacy, you have my name, my address, that I live in the village of Bethalto, and my zip code is 6218. If you were to send anything to me, even under Bethalto, Illinois 6218, it's going to get to me. Even in the phone book, if you look at most people that have this citizenship in Bethalto, but their post office is 62018, it's all listed as Bethalto, even in the phone books. So there's not a deficiency here. I've given my address. Anybody that wants to find me, it's very, very easy. You go to any Google map, you can find the address. The address is complete, and no question whatsoever as to where I live at.
Lewis? Rebuttal?
Okay. Fine, yeah, you can do all of these things, the Google and stuff like that, but that's not what it says on this sheet. It says address and zip code. And it's stated in the handout that I gave you, it asks for the complete residence address. During the Vietnam War, I had friends that sent me letters from Vietnam, just said, Whitey Cottage Hills on it. And I received the letters. That's, you know, of course, if somebody knows where you live, or if you're known, you wouldn't put it down and it would probably get to you, but that's not the point. The point is the complete residence address was not provided.
I guess my first question would be in reference to the section law that you have presented us, of which you have item number B circled and underlined, the candidate's complete residence address underlined,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Would you mind reading the next,
Those are just cases that,
Seth, would you mind reading the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words after that?
okay, it says a candidate that, a nomination that a candidate is homeless.
No, no, no.
No, it's not.
Item B, the candidate's complete residence address that you have underlined.
Okay.
In parentheses, what
A
is
post
the-
office box being insufficient.
Thank you.
Was it, there's the post office box.
I just wanted you to clarify. Thank you.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
On sheet 8 of the independent candidate petition, the address on lines 2 and 3 are not within the village limits. Lewis?
As I said, I just did that as more or less to show that I had looked at the petitions and not just glanced at them, and that knowing that without filing 130 names, that 2 would not take him, you know, as far as the number of signatures needed, to not eliminate it.
So, okay, so you just did that so that we knew you read it.
Yeah, make sure that, you know, I just didn't nitpick that I had actually looked at the petition and everything.
Candidate Winslow?
I have no argument with point number 4. I believe that's the only part of the entire objection that has any merit to it. But that was an oversight on my part. I apologize to the board for not catching those 2. I did check with my circulator, who was of the impression that the people were registered voters in Bethalto. Again, no deceit there, strictly an oversight based on some misinformation. So I obviously have no issues with having those stricken from my petition.
Any rebuttal on that, Mr. Booth?
No.
I have no question on that. All right.
No question?
Closing comments from Mr. Lewis?
Well, some statements have been made that, you know, people have taken things literally, and that instead of maybe action. These are fairly simple documents to fill out as far as what they are required in the spaces that they're required. Unfortunately, if it comes to writing a grant or something like that, where you have to do grant application, you have to be very, very specific. Simply looking over something like this and not completing it is just not, I don't think, a very good indication. And that's my comment.
Candidate Winslow?
1 second. Well, in response to literal versus actual, it is what it is. I put the information in there that was requested. I'm not, I didn't interject what I thought that maybe should be added in addition to it, being the full mailing address. I put in exactly what it was. I don't know what grant applications have to do with this, but since it was brought up, I have been successful in securing hundreds of thousands of dollars from this village by not only writing my own grants, but supervising them throughout the entire process. So I am very much a detail man, and I think that probably is why you're seeing that I took these address, zip code, so literally, I am used to being one of these guys that dots the i's and crosses the t. I do it exactly the way that it's supposed to be. In summary, I think the first 3 points of Mr. Lewis's objection hold no water whatsoever. I ask that you dismiss all 3 of those, and thank you for your time and consideration.
On item number 1, prior to rendering a decision, if I could get the candidates to turn to that statement of candidacy. The name is clearly shown, Alan Winslow. His street address, which is 198 Blair, shows there with his zip code, under address and zip code. The office is for village president, and then it says city, village, township, county, district, or state. It says village of Bethalto. So we all concede here, I'm assuming that the village of Bethalto not only has 2 zip codes, but 3. 62010, 62018, and 62024. I think at the top of the statement of candidacy, the main requirement has to be that you live within the municipal boundaries of the village of Bethalto, which it states under the city, village, township, county, district, or state, village of Bethalto. It's my recommendation, and I'll do so in the form of a motion, that we disallow the objection to item number 1. Roll call.
Bryant?
A.
Lawrence, A. Foreman, Becky?
Number 2 states the same statement at the bottom half. The statement of candidacy is misleading. Although the residence is within the village limits of Bethalto, the address shown is a combination of 2 incomplete mailing zip codes and is somewhat misleading. Again, at the bottom of the statement of candidacy, it clearly states that Alan Winslow, duly sworn and affirmed, say that I reside at 198 Blair Avenue in the village circle of Bethalto, zip code 62018, in the county of Madison, and is running for village president in the village of Bethalto. Again, the requirements are that you must live in the village of Bethalto to run for office in the village of Bethalto. Having said that, I do not see anything here that Mr. Winslow has done to mislead or to be nothing but, in his mind, clear as to what the paperwork is that he was filling out. So therefore, I make a motion on item number 2. Again, the objection be set aside. Do that in the form of a motion.
I second that.
All in favor, say aye. Oh, roll call.
Bryant?
A.
Lawrence, A.
Okay, item 3, on the independent candidate petitions 1 through 9, and space provided at the top of the petition, the complete correct mailing address is not provided. Again, it gives at the top name, Alan Winslow, office, village president, address 198 Blair, 62018. At the top of that, it also are blanks that says Village of Bethalto, County of Madison, in which the qualified voters must be to sign these petitions. As we look at the petitions, at the signatures of the petitions, they give, it says street address in a column, separate, and it says city, town, or village separate, and county separate. At the bottom, again, it appears to be filled out correctly. So in the form of a motion, my motion is to disallow the objection to item number 3.
I second that.
Roll call.
Bryant?
Thank you.
Lawrence, A.
Item number 4, on sheet 8 of the independent candidate petition, the addresses on line 2 and 13 are not within the village limits of Bethalto. Seeing those and not recognizing those addresses as being streets in the village limits of Bethalto, I agree with Mr. Lewis and will allow those. I make a motion that we allow those to be omitted. Second.
I second that.
Roll call.
Bryant?
Okay.
Lawrence, A.
That leaves out the decision of this electoral board. We will now recess until Wednesday morning at 8:30, of which we will issue, it is 8:30, 8:15, I'm sorry, 8:15. Wednesday morning, of which we will give a written order as to these findings. This time I'll entertain a motion to recess until such time.
So moved.
Second? Yes, sir. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Move to recess. So there to be filled in the left line. Is that correct?
And it's not an intention to mislead the timing, it's just the line of time. And by Mr. Jones' own statement, these other petitioners only filled in, or collected 6 names on each one of their petitions, and he did the rest, then that's notarized incorrectly, because they did not collect all the names on their petitions.
On sheet number 8, Mr. Jones, which was circulated by what is supposed to be Scott Logan, Little 49 Sanders, was those all collected by Mr. Logan?
Yes. Under my supervision, of course, but yeah.
Just to reiterate, Mr. Jones, the sheet number 8, filled out by Scott Logan, he said that one was fully circulated by Mr. Logan, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Statements are as follows. On petition number 1, circulated by Clyde Jones, authorized. Number 2, circulated by Clyde Jones, also authorized. Item number, petition number 3, circulated by Clyde Jones, authorized. Petition number 4, circulated by Clyde Jones, authorized. Petition number 5, circulated by Rose McMore of 203 Central, Bethalto. And with evidence heard this morning, not fully circulated by Rose McMore, is disallowed. Item number 6, circulated by Clyde Jones, allowed. Number 7, circulated by Michelle Kirby, with evidence hearing this morning, but not fully circulated by Michelle Kirby, disallowed. Petition number 8, circulated by Scott Logan, fully circulated by Scott Logan, allowed. In agreement, Clerk Lorraine?
Yes.
Put that in the form of motions that we disallow those 2 as mentioned.
I second it.
Roll call.
Bryant?
A.
Lawrence, A. Orland, absent.
With that, I would ask, what is the total number of now signatures?
None.
9.
They were all full sheets, right?
Yes, they were all full sheets.
None.
What's the minimum allowable?
81?
81. Going back to the original objections of the items left blank at the bottom of the petitions, saying there is no clear intent for Mr. Jones to mislead the clerk, this board, or the residents of the village of Bethalto. I'll make a motion that those petitions are valid.
I second that.
Roll call.
Bryant?
A.
Lawrence, A. Orland is absent.
So let it be known, the decision of the electoral board is to disallow 2 petitions, to allow the remaining petitions as submitted, giving Mr. Jones the needed signatures for his petition. Is that true, Ms. Lorraine?
That is true.
entertain that in the motion. Steve, second.
I second that.
Roll call.
Bryant?
Aye.
Lawrence, A. Borland, absent.
So we will adjourn this, no. Okay. We will recess this hearing now until 8 a.m. on Wednesday of this week, which will be January the 16th. So we may, we'll have a written order at that time, of which will be submitted to all parties involved.
Before you adjourn, the original complaint has not really been addressed. The issue was not to mislead, the issue was the fact that it was incomplete. There's nothing about misleading in my objection.
Okay, to elaborate, as this board is responsible to do, we did some background search as well and found out that this is a common problem with the filing of these petitions. We do not feel it mandates that these petitions be disallowed.
Why did they include the blanks?
That would be for someone who creates these petitions, not this board.
Okay.
So again, the ruling is as stated. We will recess at this time till 8 a.m. on Wednesday, January 16th, which we will reconvene at that time for a written order to be presented for the candidate and the objector for those involved. Joe?
Mayor, could I present a request in front of everybody here before I leave? Is there going to be a point in time when you can add all the costs to the village up on these hearings? Both the cost of the people we use, Madison County, and the folks here?
Yes, we will.
And may I get a copy of that?
You most certainly will.
Thank you.
Make a motion we recess.
I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting recess to Wednesday, January 16th at 8.